Good morning, children. Welcome back with the continuation of the topic drainage from grade 9, Geography Unit 3. Today we are going to learn about the lakes in this part 3. In the previous two parts, we heard about the Himalayan rivers as well as peninsular rivers. So, this is Sridevi from Thala Padmavati International School, Varangal. A lake is generally created because of the basic landforms, as I mentioned earlier, that is formed because of the movements of the rivers as they flow gradually to distant areas. So now let's discuss about one such lake called as Dal Lake in India. Dal Lake is the most significant lake in our country because it is very beautiful and we see boat houses, and sometimes it is completely frozen and very cold in the Jammu Kashmir state. Dal Lake is a place where allows most of the tourists all over the world. Many people visit to enjoy the natural beautiness of this place. We find Dal Lake to be flowing in the summer season and it gets frozen in the winter season. So lakes are mostly permanent and sometimes they are seasonal, and we see flowing of lakes in this region only during summer, and some of the lakes are inland lakes. Now moving into the topic, let's see how these lakes are formed. So the major reason for the formation of lakes are the meanders. What is a meander? Rivers flowing over gently sloping ground begin to curve back and forth across the landscape. These are called as meandering rivers. Meandering rivers erode sediment from the outcut curve of each meander, bend and deposit it on an inner curve further downstream. In its due course, an oxbow lake forms when a river creates a meander. Due to the river's eroding bank, after a long period of time, the meander becomes very curved and eventually the neck of the meander becomes narrower and the river cuts through the neck cutting of the meander and forming an oxbow curve. This is how the meanders and oxbows are formed, where the river, when it is taking its course of journey and when it takes turns at different areas, these areas are known as meanders. And in this due course, when the river gets its overflow and does its journey like a curve, it's like getting disconnected and joins with its continuation and starts again in its main course. So the turn or the gap is left is known as the oxbow lake, which got cut off, and the turns are known as the meanders. As you can see the image very clearly, the river flows continuously and eventually takes a turn, and the curve makes gradually into a oxbow lake. So such type of oxbow lakes or the meanders are very famous or formed in the lakes like Chilaka Lake, Pulicat Lake and Kolleru Lake. It is not only because of the meanders or the oxbows, but when we build the dams also result in the formation of the lakes, like for example, Bakranangal Dam, which has been created Guru Govind Sagar Lake. It would be the other source of lake formation. So these are the lakes found to be in India, the permanent and the seasonal lakes. Now moving to the next category of the lakes are the inland lakes. In these lakes again we have two categories, that is the Sambar lake in Rajasthan region where it is an inland lake. It is different here because the water in this lake is completely salty in taste. So this is the reason why this lake got a special context in our India, because this is the only river which tastes salty, that is the Sambar lake. And again we have a freshwater lake in the region of Jammu Kashmir, that is Bular Lake. Here when the glaciers activity takes place, it gets eroded in its volume and the snow gets melted and converted into water and we get fresh water here. So Ular Lake is the freshwater lake. Along with it is we have Dal Lake, Nainatal and Loktak in our country. These are not only provide us water, but they actually generate the flow of, regulate the flow of river water and stops getting floods when the water gets overflown. The water can be saved in the form of lakes and the floods can be controlled, and they add the natural beauty and the sceneries which makes a very good beautiful tourist spots for the people to visit and provide a recreation to many people in the country, outside the country even. So these are the important rivers which we find in our India, that is the Chilaka Lake, Kolleru Lake and Pulicat Lake, which are very fresh, and Vular is the other lake which we find in Jammu Kashmir, and the Sambar Lake is the saltwater lake which we find in Rajasthan. Role of river in the economy. If we remember the period of ancient times when man started to learn to get settled at some particular place, or man started his civilization at a river banks region. River Nile, River Indus are very good examples for this. So from the ancient period to modern period, man has always been associated closely to the rivers. So man's life started settling only at the river places or at the banks of the rivers. So it's not that the rivers are not contributing to the economy. Rivers do contribute largely to economy, that to countries like India where largely 70% of the Indians depend directly on agriculture, where the rivers supply water for agriculture and irrigation facilities. And we also use rivers for navigation, transport, and we also build a lot of dams to generate the electricity from these water. So rivers do largely contribute to the economy of a country, and most of the people in India are completely dependent on agriculture, and most of the people in India are completely dependent on agriculture, and many people directly associated with the water for their life. Now let's understand the very serious concern on these rivers, that is the pollution. Water are being polluted and contaminated very seriously because we have to take it very serious, as the river pollution or the river contamination is due to the waste chemical output and other things get joined into the rivers. Here let me tell you students, the rivers are having a capacity to cleanse itself, that is the river got a self cleansing capacity. Yes, let me tell you this with an example. River Ganga takes a affluent with it, and within 20 kilometers of its journey into the city, it itself tries to clean itself and make the water clean for the next part. But because of the rapid industrialization and urbanization, the output of the waste or the output of the chemicals is going on increasing rapidly, which is resulting in reducing the capacity of rivers to cleanse itself. That's how the problems are increasing, and this is a very serious concern which we all need to be need to remember and react to this situation. So, this is the time to be very cautious and think that we all know without river water and uh, survival of human being is very tough. So, we need to be alert and preserve our rivers, and due to this, also the river Ganga rehabilitation plan were being brought to clean Ganga. That was in 1985 to 2000. Difficult phases have been different phases have been started. So we all have to do our own contribution to save the rivers, and so that the rivers can regenerate and start their cleansing capacity again. So this would give us a detailed information about the rivers and their importance, and the main issue which we discussed is conservation of rivers. So it is a part of every individual citizen to protect the river, where the whole life of this earth is dependent on river. Thank you, children.